Hi, this is part 2 of the video regarding the truth behind butterflies and moths in this industry. What I would like to talk about is how do I actually make my business model sustainable to the actual species as well as the people who live in those vulnerable areas. It's really important that we talk about that because that's the only real way that we can have a positive impact on doing the kind of art that I'm doing. So these butterflies here are actually man-made in the jungles of the Amazon in Peru, and they are made using 2 different species that have been hybridized manually to create these beautiful specimens. Now, the jungle dwellers who make these, when they earn US dollars for each of these specimens, which is a huge sum of money that they're getting for each specimen, just how motivated do you think they are to continue to not only breed these guys, to create them, but also to conserve the area in which they flourish? This becomes their incentive and their crop so that they can continue to put food in their mouths, to get ahead, to put electricity, water wells, infrastructure in their area so that they can live a life that's worth living in those extremely poor conditions. So we financially motivate them by buying what they can breed, and I don't make any misnomers about them. Within the first hour of them coming out of their chrysalis, they are killed, papered, dried, and then shipped to us with permits. And that's how I'm able to show them to you. This is a regulated industry. We don't support any poachers. We don't support rampant killing. This particular group of butterflies cannot be mass produced because they have to manually be paired to create them. And we have literally thousands upon thousands of butterflies in our collection that fit that criteria. Now I'm going to switch drawers here, and I'm going to show you the most impactful work that we've done is with these butterflies. Now, there are over 18,000 islands in Indonesia, host to the largest butterflies in the world. And these butterflies are of extremely high demand. And so international countries have signed up to be part of the Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species. None of these are considered Schedule 1 or Appendix 1 species, which means that they would be endangered. These are all Appendix 2. And that being the case, they are regulated. So in order to deal in these butterflies, you actually have to have permits from the importing country. When you're selling it outside of the jurisdiction, you have to get re-export permits. So the entire trade of these butterflies are regulated. Now, permits are only issued if you can prove they've been bred. So in Indonesia, they have a quota system, and they only allow a certain number of these specimens to be released per year to the public in the dead, dried form for trade. And all of those specimens are regulated. Now, we support those breeders and farmers who actually breed them by buying their specimens, and then we can mount them up, frame them, and sell them. Now, if we did not do that work by actually supporting these farmers and ranchers, they have no incentive to keep their forests intact. They are more incentivized to sell to logging companies and mining companies their land and their mineral rights so that these other companies can destroy those lands, destroy the ecosystems in which these life forms are surviving in, existing in, and then they disappear. And that's one of the prime reasons why we see butterfly populations declining worldwide, because of logging, mining, pollution, human encroachment. It's not actually the trade of butterflies. In fact, when you support a company like ours, you actually are supporting the initiatives that we have with these farmers. We do direct trade. We don't work with any middlemen. We do direct trade with these farmers and ranchers to grow these particular butterflies. We buy their crop, and then we import it legally with permits into the country, and then we sell them worldwide with re-export permits. And by doing so, we increase the education of the public so that they know what exists in this world, so they can actually treat it with love, care, and concern. And when they have one of our art pieces on their wall, it becomes a conversation piece. We don't tell any lies to the customer. We don't tell them that they've died of natural causes. In my first video, I actually showed you what a specimen looks like when it dies of natural causes. It's completely destroyed and thrashed and the color is gone, which doesn't look like any of these. These actually were all killed within the first hour of them coming out of their chrysalis. And this is how we are able to actually do this entire business sustainably. We incentivize the landowners to conserve their forests through the buying of this kind of a crop that they grow only if they can actually keep their forests intact. Because these organisms only can thrive when those forests are kept natural. Then those farmers and ranchers are incentivized to rise out of poverty because they're making more money growing this than selling their trees for logging companies, to logging companies, or selling their land for minerals to these other companies. So they're incentivized to do this. So it's not the case that we're paying a very small amount of money to these people. We're actually paying large sums of US dollars per specimen in order to be able to bring them in. And then we have to pay for the permits on top of that. So this is how our entire business model is run. Now, at the end of the day, there are species that are not being bred and ranched. And they are actually found in areas that are not threatened or vulnerable. And I'm still a butterfly hunter. I enjoy going out there and I enjoy collecting butterflies. And when I go out there and I catch a butterfly that is not in good shape, I release it because I don't have a use for it. The ones that are in good shape, it's maybe 10% out of everything that I find. And everything that I do see, I'm not able to catch the vast majority of them because they are masters at evasion, masters at camouflage, and it's very difficult to actually catch a butterfly. So we're catching a small fraction of them, of which only less than 10% we're keeping for the purposes of this. So we're not actually having a negative impact on those populations. Some of those species, if I'm able to actually raise them, I do so in my own studio. The Luna moth was a perfect example, which we talked about at length in the first video. If you want to see more of our stuff, you can have a look at butterflyplanet.com. That's where we sell the unmounted specimens. If you would like to have the actual art pieces that I create, you can go to butterflyartstudio.com, and you can buy with confidence knowing that we're not going to tell you any lies about how we source the specimens. We'll tell you if they're bred, we'll tell you if they're wild caught, we'll tell you if they need permits. We won't sell anything that is endangered. We won't sell you anything that has now been restricted. We don't have the ability to get re-export permits because species go onto the Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species list on a yearly basis. And some species that we legally acquired back in the 70s and 80s are no longer tradable today. So we don't sell them outside of Canada. This is how we actually run our business in an open, ethical, and honorable way. It would be nice to see other vendors do the same. This industry definitely needs a level up in the integrity and a shift away from the lies so that the public actually can buy with confidence and not with worry and doubt. Make this video go viral. People need to understand how this industry works. Thank you for watching.